Good morning, everybody. This is our regular meeting of the Mason County Commission for Tuesday, October 13th. Vicki Kirkpatrick, would you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner District 1, Randy Netherland.
I'm here.
Commissioner District 2, Tim Sheldon.
I'm on the phone.
Commissioner District 3, Terry Jeffries.
Here.
Thank you. Item number 4, correspondence. Is there any correspondence to come before this organization today?
There is. The Liquor Control Board sent a marijuana license application for I-502 Gardens and a special occasion application for Mason General Hospital Foundation. The Port of Grapeview sent their 2016 final budget. Larry Coppola submitted an application for the Allen Belfair UGA Committee. And Don Stacy sent an email regarding derelict properties.
Thank you. Is there any other correspondence or organizational business to come before this board? Then we will move into open forum for citizens' input. And it's okay, we don't mind the baby, believe me, except for you. That's probably going to be the brightest part of our day. So please come in and join us and let us enjoy that beautiful baby. This is our open forum for citizens' input. This is your opportunity to speak to the commission, the citizenry, and the public about any issue that is not on the agenda. If it is on the agenda, we ask that you please wait, and you'll be given an opportunity to ask questions or testify about that item at that time. But if it is not on the agenda, this is your opportunity to speak to all of us. We would like to remind you, though, that the time is limited to 15 minutes total, up to 5 minutes per person. So please make your notes and your speech is brief, and we'll move on to the next person. With that being said, is there anybody in the audience who would like to speak on any issue that is not on the agenda? Could you please come up, announce your name and perhaps where you're from? And
no, it has to do with the budget. Is that on the agenda?
no, go ahead. Nope, this
Okay.
is your opportunity.
My name's Gregory Adamski, and I live in Shelton.
Hold on. Sorry. Gregory Adamski?
Yes, Adamski.
Go ahead.
It's not very long, just large font. I'm coming before you to give my input about the budget that you're presently working on. There are 2 departments that I'm recommending cuts be made to, and those funds be allocated to other areas or departments to better serve the public of Mason County for no net increase in the budget. According to the Mason County Journal, the most recent Mason County monthly law enforcement breakfast that Sheriff Salisbury holds at the Little Creek Casino, he stated how much more money is needed by his department to do its job. This monthly breakfast in of itself is questionable. How much money from his budget goes to pay for this monthly meeting, where I've been told by the Sheriff's Department when I called a while ago, only invited individuals are allowed to attend. My suggestion is to decrease the budget of the Sheriff's Department by 50%. I suggest to add 25% of those funds to areas of increased mental health services, and the remaining 25% to increases in chemical dependency programs. This is a total 0% increase in the county budget. In my experience with the Sheriff's Department, the deputies follow the policies put in place by Sheriff Salisbury, which he himself has stated to me is to arrest people. If their goal is to put as many people as possible into the web of the criminal justice system, which will forever be on their record in one way or another, they're doing a fine job. When I was on a jury and someone stated that if the person was arrested, they must be guilty, I can tell that they have never had a family member arrested for false reasons. The second department that I recommend to cut a 50% to is the prosecutor's office. I suggest that 25% of those funds be allocated to the establishment of a drug court, which I know in other counties have done, taken the initiative, and it's very, very good, very successful. And the remaining 25% to be added to the budget of the Office of Public Defenders, where attorneys are appointed to represent indigent individuals. Maybe then those individuals can be fairly represented and not be asked and expected quickly accept plea bargains instead of truly putting forth a defense that is honorable. My experience with the prosecutor's office is to automatically put everyone arrested by the Sheriff's Department on trial, no matter the chances of winning or losing, and if the original charges are shaky, additional charges are added, just hoping the individual is convicted of something, so they will have that permanent mark and forever be in the criminal justice web. Thank you.
Can I just share?
Please.
regarding your drug court recommendation, are you aware that we do have a drug court?
No, I don't.
And as a matter of fact, we're growing our therapeutic courts to include a veterans court, and then we're hoping to have a mental health court, and then a youth court set up within the next year and a half or so. So,
Okay, well then that 25%, put it toward those other ones.
okay.
Well, just so you know, we've also increased the indigent defense by more than 100% since we've been here. We've literally more than doubled it since we've been here. Just so you know, just
Okay.
to be aware of that. As for the breakfast, as you know, the only thing, we don't have control over the
Correct.
sheriff's budget. He does, we control how much overall. But I've heard him say that breakfast is paid for by other things that have nothing to do with our budget. I don't know how accurate that is. I'm just telling you what we were told, because the question you had is some of the same questions that we had.
Thank you, Miss.
Thank you very much. Mary Jean Herbacek, please.
Mary Jean Herbacek, 60 West Shadow Valley Drive, Tim. Commissioner Sheldon, can you hear me all right?
Yes, I can.
Good. First of all, one comment regarding the sheriff's breakfast. It's paid for by the individuals who attend. It's in a building that anybody in the county can walk into, so if you want to attend any of them on a Friday, you're welcome to. I think they charge $10 per person because it's with the breakfast cost.
Please, Mary Jean, please direct to us. Thank
Okay,
you.
so, well, all right.
Yeah.
Anybody in the county that wants to attend, let the sheriff's office know, and if they need a larger venue, I'm sure they'll be glad to accommodate with the Little Creek Casino. My comment today is regarding a note that I read on the briefing minutes for Monday, September 28th, that were on the web. And I quote, "Discussion of the litter grant program and ecology's coordinated prevention grants, parens CPG, on parens. 3 issues identified. Disposal of debris and garbage collected by the sheriff's inmate crews for March 2015 to August 2015 is $4,586.73 and unpaid. Roadside abandoned vehicles and large objects are continually disputed regarding who is responsible for their removal and disposal. And third, inmate crews are no longer responding to roadside litter requests. The board requests that the sheriff's office pay the tipping fees." I don't know what's transpired over the past few years, and the 2 prior finance people for the sheriff's office were there. I don't recall that we had to pay tipping fees. That was considered to be, when I was at the sheriff's office, to be considered the county's contribution to the overall process. I certainly don't think it's the sheriff's office responsibility to pay for garbage that's collected on the side roads. I am very disappointed that the 3 commissioners can't come up with answers to those 3 briefing minute questions that you had. I have seen nothing since then to address it. But considering the fact that we pay $250,000 in just wages alone to the 3 of you, I think that the 3 of you could sit down and come up with a resolution of this issue. I know the city's made a concerted effort to try and clean up downtown. I know that the citizens are doing the same. I think that to have a contest, and I won't go into the kind of contest, of this nature is really inappropriate for the city commission and our county commission, and I'd like you to address it. Thank you.
Mary Jean, would you like some comment from us, or?
Sure.
You're welcome. Just
Only if you fixed it already.
well, Mary Jean, just so you know, when it comes to paying bills and the like, one of the questions that's being asked is whether or not that was in their grant.
Sorry.
Yeah, could you come up here, please? Yeah.
Scratching.
Yeah. One of the questions that was asked is whether or not that was within the grant. And if it was within the grant, then that's where the money should come from. Number 2, a little aspect that I'm sure you know, is the auditor has stepped in, and we no longer, unlike commissions in the past, we no longer have the ability just to pay things willy-nilly or not pay things willy-nilly. Every organization that puts or takes something in there must pay for it now. One way or the other, we can't take money from the public fund or from the sheriff's fund or the utility, the waste management, and just pay for it. We have to somewhere it has to be paid for fairly by whatever organization is bringing these things in. As for derelict vehicles, I think that was more a question that came up about from Public Works, and there's no question that they're the ones that have to sign off on those vehicles, or the state patrol. But that was a question that had come up during a briefing, and I think you've added a lot more to it than the conversation actually occurred. I don't know what you mean by your notes, but like I said, I don't.
Minutes.
Yeah, I don't know what you mean by your notes, but I know that the discussions that we had when we were in the room. Commissioner, would you like to?
Well, just that briefing minutes are just that, they're not verbatim minutes, and so, to read into that. And that is the question. We do pay for hauling whatever gets brought in, we pay to haul it out. And so if the grant said it'll pay for the tipping fees, that's what our question was. And so we have not really had a clear idea what's in his grant applications. And so we wanted to get this taken care of, because right now it is being paid for by utilities, which is not necessarily, we don't even know if that's even legal. So it would have to be then a reimbursement from current expense into utilities for the cost of those tipping fees if it isn't coming out of the grant. So we're just kind of trying to track back.
I agree. In the past that I know of, and Frank followed me at the sheriff's office, we weren't charged by utilities, or we would have put it in the grant request. Somehow something has changed midstream.
A lot of personnel has changed.
Personnel aside, the grant request stands alone when it goes to the state. If tipping fees weren't in there, then what you're telling me is that the litter program has come to a complete halt until the next litter cycle, in which case, because we haven't executed the current one, we may not get it at all.
I don't remember anybody saying anything like that. Mary Jean, did you say that,
no,
Commissioner?
I didn't say anybody
Oh.
said that. What I'm saying is that if you don't come up with a resolution now, you're jeopardizing the program in the future. And I also think that there, at one point in time, and there are many grants that require a match from counties. Just because it isn't stipulated doesn't mean that you can't do it. And to not have the litter program at all when the county's already gotten grants to pay for the vehicle and the truck that they put the litter in, and the grant also pays for the people who administer the program. So I just think you need to sit down and figure out where the $4,500 needs to come from until the next grant comes around.
Mary Jean, that's what the briefing is.
I know.
That's what it's about, is to try
And
and
I haven't
figure
heard
that
an
out.
answer to it yet, and yet I
Well,
have.
we also
I
had
have had
we also had a
people tell me-
briefing yesterday, Mary Jean.
Thank you. Then
On
I guess
this.
if we get to wait for
Yeah,
those.
it continues on. Is there anybody else who would like to speak at this time? Cheryl.
Good morning, Commissioners. Cheryl Williams, 309 West G Street, and I'm here to talk about the debates. We have 3 debates that are upcoming. The first one, I guess I should tell you, it's for your city government, your school board, and your port commissioners. The first one is at 2:00 p.m. today, Tuesday, October 13th, at the Pavilion. There's also one 6:00 p.m. Thursday, October 15th, at Shelton High School. And there's also one 6:00 p.m. Tuesday, October 20th, at the new TCC.
Thank you. Is there anybody else who would like to speak at this time? Please come on up. Introduce both of you, please.
Nicole Sells, 400 Southeast Sells Drive, and this is Giovanni.
Giovanni. Hi, Giovanni. Hi.
So, as you can imagine, I'm here about the ongoing pot saga on Southeast Sells Drive. Last year, when it was all brought up, some changes were made in local law to ensure that the problems that occurred on Sells Drive didn't occur elsewhere. And we appreciate the rezoning that took place for that. But it still leaves Sells Drive in a mess. Last year we were encouraged that we had different state agencies that could possibly help with our situation. We were directed to ORCA for air quality and the odor. And after a year of this now, being present and operational out on Sells Drive, The odor has been tremendous. It is terrible. All summer long, we have called in to complain to Orca about the odor. And all summer long, I've spoken to 3 different individuals there, and they have said, just keep calling. There's nothing we can do right now. We're short-staffed. If we do take measures against them, it'll be a $295 fee just to kind of hit them monetarily. But for a company like that, an operation like that, what is $300? For the odor to continue to persist. Right now, Forbidden Farms, the farm out on Sells Drive, is operating without the clean air permit that Orca typically requires of businesses. But like many situations with this farm, they were able to fly under the radar with that, so they don't have that. And Orca, from the last time I spoke to them, which was a month ago, they have no plan to do anything about it right now. So we're encouraged to continue calling, which really is unfortunate because we live in a beautiful area. In the summertime, you want to sit outside and enjoy the evening air, but you can't at Sells Drive. You're just bombarded with a terrible, terrible odor. That will just continue to get worse. So there's the odor issue, and I'm bringing all of this up because Forbidden Farms is up for their renewal of their license October 31st. And in the past 2 months, our community has put together a petition to fight the renewal of their license. We've sent in over 20 letters explaining the situation, explaining what we've tried to do, but the state has turned us to the county. They said, get the county on board. So I'm hoping that by coming here today and making these issues aware to you guys, that you can come up with an idea of how to assist us. I do appreciate the rezoning that took place last year. You heard us, you took action, I appreciate that, but I implore you to help us now because our hands are tied. The state is not going to do anything. They are looking to the local, I shouldn't do that. They are leaving it to the county hands to help us with this. And odor is not just the only problem. Since the farm has gone into operation, there's been an effect on the local water quality as well. Neighbors have reported loss of water pressure. There's silt in the water since the farm has been operational. I actually called the county to find out if there's anyone or any organization or department that has a pulse on the water quality with that operation, and I was told no, because it's basically treated as like a home well. It's a well, and it's not really, and I could be wrong, but this is what the county told me, that it's not treated as an industry or a business or something in those regards. I don't understand how those things work, but they told me essentially there's no one looking over that. There's no one keeping a pulse on that. And so that makes me concerned because that's our neighborhood, our water table there. For a tier 3 operation to be able to water the canopy of plants that they have for the indefinite future, and there's nobody in the county keeping a pulse on our water quality and what they can draw out of that, concerns me.
Is your water system there, is that a community system?
No, they're all private wells.
Wait.
Oh, Base, which sits up from the farm, she says, does have a community system. I don't know how every facet of the community, of the county works and these different departments. I'm just reporting to you my concern and the information that I have on it. There's also the stream that originates in the little pocket where the farm is at, that is now running full steam ahead right down to our beaches. And I know last year that the pot farmers themselves said everything's organic, but not everything is organic, and even things that are organic can show damage to the shellfish industry. So, yeah.
Has any of the oyster growers there on the beaches done a water quality test?
We just took a sample last week.
Okay, so you haven't got the results back?
I haven't had the
Okay.
results back. I can let you know what those results are.
I would be very interested.
Thank you. Yeah, we are adamant to keep a pulse on this. Just so that the same thing that happens with it going in originally, which I think was a lack of research on the county's part, lack of knowledge on the county's part, and now we're suffering for it, and we want to prevent that, to not be in another situation where we're screwed over because it's too late. And I hope you'll help us with that you'll contact the state. There is the opportunity, to not revoke your license, to at least push back the renewal of it so that you can investigate these matters. There are actions that we can take in the next 2 weeks before their licensure to kind of put things on hold and at least look into it before it's granted, to come up with some type of plan.
Will you share with us the contacts that you've had with Orca, the names and?
Yeah, I don't have them here with me today, but I will email those.
Yeah, I've spoken to him. And I'll be at Orca on Wednesday as well and follow up. I just want to share what I've done at this point.
Okay.
So I've spoken to another one of your neighbors and have been trying to track down who at the Liquor Control Board can give us an extension on the county comment period. But I'm still of the belief, and I think this is what I'm going to find out when I get to talk to the appropriate person, is that the issue of relicensing is all around their requirements, and they'll push any land use issues back to the county. We do have the option to us of pulling the grandfathering right to them. I think we haven't really fully vetted that. But
We've done it in the past when it came to a safety issue, or the like. We created a code that did not include grandfathering. So therefore, if they were not able to make that code,
and we and that'll be probably the next step in discussion about are we willing to go there as far as saying, okay, these are the new land use regulations around these facilities. You no longer meet our requirements, and you'll have to come up with a way to meet them, they can't because the land size is not big enough. But I don't think we can impact whether or not they get relicensed. I mean, we can make that effort, but we'll have to address it from the land use side and our jurisdictional authority.
and that one was actually a hoop house, right?
Yeah.
It is.
And they were
Well, that's-
placing the plants outside of the, so the hoop
Yeah.
house piece is
Well,
there.
that was part of the
land
things that
size.
that we had talked about before that might fit into that other parameter of safety or what for grandfathering.
So I don't know how far I'm willing to go as far as Liquor Control Board and asking them not to relicense. We can definitely put in a comment. I got a straight out no, you missed the deadline. I informed them that their renewal request came in with a stack like this, and please give us, some deference here. And we can make the comment that we have issues around their our land use code and how it no longer meets that. But I believe that any impact will have to come from our local code.
Okay. Is there anything in the local code? I know that Orca handles the air quality. Is there anything in local code for that? Because that's the most offensive aspect of all this immediately right now.
And so Orca Orca's kind of taking another local jurisdiction hands-off approach in that they have recommendations on filtering systems that could be required by a county. We just have to figure out if we want to pull the trigger on that because it's quite an expensive investment, and we haven't really had that discussion either. But they're kind of saying, I'm not sure exactly how they do the odor tests themselves. From what I understand, they told me they step outside and they go, yep, too strong. So it seems subjective, but these are trained people as well, and they know what they're So I've talked to them a couple times, and what I've been told is that either the timing of them has been bad to come out and not have smelt it, or it's just not been at that level that they're used to regulating on and fining on. So, and I know that we all have, that's subjective. So just from the Orca standpoint, I think we have the option of asking for a filtering system, but they also use that same filtering system up at the facility at the port. And I've been told, I haven't smelt it, but I've been told by people that you can still smell it up at the port. So I don't know that would take care of the issue.
Okay.
But so like I said, our biggest ability to impact this is around our local land use codes and taking away the grandfathering privilege.
Okay. Well, I hope that's something.
Okay.
Done soon. Appreciate you taking the time.
Thank you. And thank you for bringing that baby. Is there anybody else who would like to speak at this time about an issue that is not on the agenda? Please.
Commissioner, my name is Charles Horton. I'm with the Shelton Poverty Advisory Team, and I came here today. My purpose is threefold. First, I'd like to thank Commissioner Jeffrey. I saw you downtown in Wikipedia, your kind words about the completion of the 40 Party program. I'll pass those congratulatory remarks on to my PAC team members tomorrow's meeting. And when I saw you, Commissioner Everton, you asked about the pledge. So here you go. I also came equipped to award each of the commissioners. Sorry you're not here, Mr. Sheldon, but there is a porta potty pilot project 10 awaiting your return. We have experienced some success thus far. I mean 100% success. All the porta potties were installed approximately 5.5 weeks ago, and yet we have not suffered any setbacks. There is some discussion about moving one of them that isn't getting very much use. As far as the other ones go, there was actually a line at one of them yesterday. I was seeing on the second one, there was actually somebody waiting outside. So, and Commissioner Sheldon,
Yes.
I'm pleased to announce that I met you this summer in Brewer Park. That is the site of one of our porta potties, so if you happen to be dining in the park in the future, you will find one readily accessible for your needs should they arise.
Well, thank you.
You bet. Just a reminder, too, I'm asked to remind everybody, don't steal the toilet paper. All right? Or we'll have a spat right there in the park. Looks like my machine here has gone on hold, so I won't log it back on, but I have taken some photographs of your transit community center recently, including one that I call Full House, which I'll run a printed copy and leave it for you guys to look at. I really love this. There's actually 7 buses lined up, all perfectly in a row in front of the transit center. I also have taken some photographs inside of some of the events and activities that are taking place there. And I think that's another hugely successful project in the community that seems to be working well. So thank you for your efforts in providing that for us.
Charles, thank you for your work on the,
I told you that.
Thank you very much.
thank you for your work on behalf of the community. Your activism and your energy is commendable, and thank you so much for it.
And for those out there that think it's not that big a deal, imagine how much of that would end up on the street if it wasn't there. So just, one of those things that are obvious that you may not have thought of when you realize the impacts of things.
Just one more thing. Has anybody shown the commission this picture of the Simpson Railroad engine? Have you guys seen this yet? Uh-oh.
Where is it?
Well, it's in the LeMay collection up in Tacoma, and it actually, I'll get back over here and give you a little bit of a rundown on this one. I spotted it while I was working up there in February, and I did a little history on it, and it's called the Lee Willis, and Lee Willis was a 45-year employee of the McClure door plant, and this particular engine, they named it after him, and it ran for years between the door plant and downtown Shelton to the mill. So back when I was up there in February and I spotted this, it just seemed to me that this engine belonged here. And with the recent closing of the Simpson Mill and the water plant, it seems even more sensible to bring this, see about the possibility of bringing this engine back to Shelton. So yesterday when I picked up the Shelton Downtown Visioning Plan, I saw that among the recommendations was to move the trolley and to possibly create a railroad museum in the turnaround down in the Simpson Mill property. I thought maybe we could bump this request. Steve Goins tells me that the city has expired they're exhausted their efforts in trying to get the engine back, but maybe we could assemble a large group of people and maybe we could see about bringing it back in the future.
Thank you.
Be a great historical showpiece.
Is there anybody else who wishes to speak at this time on any issue that is not on the agenda? Hearing none, we will move on to item number 6, which is the adoption of the agenda.
Mr. Chairman, before we adopt the agenda, I'd just like to comment about the litter grant.
Please.
It would be very helpful if we had the sheriff and the waxed about the grant and the audit issues are not in the room. So hopefully we can do that. We talked about that yesterday at our briefing, again, about having the right people in the room at the same time to have these discussions. I think it would really clear the air and accomplish something.
Thank you.
I agree. I think we should make that instruction to go ahead and ask for that briefing.
I think that's what we did
Okay.
yesterday, so. Is there anything further? Then I will entertain a motion to adopt the agenda.
Mr. Chair, I move that we adopt the agenda as presented.
And I'll second the motion, Mr. Chairman.
It's been moved and seconded for the adoption of the agenda as presented. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries. Item number 7, approval of the minutes.
Mr. Chairman, I move that the Board of County Commissioners approve the briefing minutes for September 28, 2015, and the special meeting minutes for October 2nd, as well as the October 6, 2015 regular meeting minutes.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded for the approval of the minutes, September 28, 2015 briefing minutes, October 2nd, 2015 special meeting minutes, and October 6, 2015 regular meeting minutes. All in favor say aye.
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 Aye, motion carries. Next, we move on to item number 8, which is the approval of the action agenda. All items listed under the action agenda may be enacted with one motion unless a commissioner or citizen requests the item be removed from the action agenda and considered as a separate item. We will go ahead and read these items to everybody in the audience. We would ask that if you have any questions to help you decide whether to take it off the agenda, that you will ask the question and we'll move on. But if you would like to testify, we ask you go ahead and just have it taken off of the agenda. We'll give you an opportunity to testify. With that being said, I will read item number 8.1 and 8.2. Commissioner Sheldon, if you'll read 8.3 and 8.4, and Commissioner Jeffries 8.5 and 8.6. And that's it, right? Yep. Item number 8.1, approval of the warrants. Claims clearing fund warrant numbers 802-9944-8030270 for the sum of $3,054,451.34. Claims clearing year-to-date total $27,336,113.65. Item number 8.2, approval to authorize Public Works to advertise, set bid opening date and time, award contract, and allow the chair to sign all pertinent documents for 2016 manufacturing and stockpiling of chip seal aggregate.
Item 8.3, approval to authorize Public Works to advertise, set bid date and time, award contract, and allow the chair to sign all pertinent documents for routine paint striping for 2016. And item 8.4, approval to authorize Public Works, ER&R, to advertise, set bid opening date and time, award contract, and allow for chair to sign all pertinent documents for asphaltic materials for the 2016 calendar year.
Item 8.5, approval to authorize Public Works to advertise, set bid opening date and time, award contract, and allow the chair to sign all pertinent documents for call to bids to furnish contract and allow the, to furnish Mason County with emulsified asphalt for 2016. 8.6, approval of the Veterans Assistance Fund applications for food, $150, utilities, $168.72, for a total of $318.72, as recommended by the Veterans Service Office.
Thank you. With that being read into the public record, is there anybody in the audience who has any questions that would help them to decide whether or not to take something off for a separate vote? Hearing none, is there anybody that would like an item taken off for a separate vote so they would have an opportunity to testify? Commissioners, anything? Anybody would like to take anything off?
No.
I will entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I'd move that we approved items 8.1 through 8.6 on today's action agenda.
I'll second the motion, Mr. Chairman.
It's been moved and seconded for the approval of the action agenda, items 8.1 through 8.6. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, the motion carries. We will now move on to our public hearing. This is a public hearing to consider the sale of surplus property, parcel number 22005-55-00009, located at 91 East Wilshire Boulevard, Shelton, Washington, to Paul Smart for the amount of $28,650 staff, Frank Pinter, and this is now open.
As you've identified, this is a public hearing to consider the sale of surplus property at 91 East Wilshire Boulevard. It consists of tracts 7, 8, 9, which are parcels numbers 22005-55-00007, 00008, and 00009 for the price of $28,650.
I have no questions.
Does anybody in the audience have any questions for staff? Any questions for staff, commissioners?
No.
Hearing none, that part of the hearing is over. Is there any public who would like to comment at this time? Hearing no public comment, we will move on to commissioner deliberations. Is there any deliberating to be done?
If I recall, this is the one we had multiple offers?
Yes.
That's exciting. Anytime there's multiple offers on property, that means we're picking up our real estate market here.
Anything further? I will entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move that we adopt the resolution authorizing the sale of surplus property located 91 East Wilshire Boulevard, Shelton, Washington, parcel number 22005-55-00009, near Phillips Lake.
Mr. Chairman, I'll second the motion.
It's been moved and seconded for the authorization to sell surplus property, parcel number 22005-55-00009, located at 91 East Wilshire Boulevard, Shelton, Washington, to Paul Smart for the amount of $28,650. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, the motion carries. The hearing is over. We will now move on to item number 10, which is other business. Department heads and elected officials. Are there any department heads who would like to speak at this time? Hearing none. Are there any elected officials? Please.
Morning, Commissioners. Melody Peterson, Mason County Assessor. The Assessor's Office has sent a notice of value to all the owners of taxable property in Mason County. Some of you may already have got them. They went out last Friday. So the letter indicates if there has been any change in your property value. The Assessor's Office physically inspects 1/6 of the county every year, and the balance of properties are analyzed and updated through the use of statistics based on market data. If you are currently on any tax-exempt or deferred programs, such as your senior citizen, disabled person, or any current use programs, market value, taxable value, and or frozen values are still shown on the notice of value. The new values will be used to determine your 2016 taxes. If you disagree with your new value, please come in, excuse me, or call the assessor's office, and we will review your land and buildings to make sure the information is correct and make adjustments if we need to. Our main concern is that property information is correct. After reviewing your parcel with an appraiser and you still feel your new value is incorrect, you may wish to present your case to the Mason County Board of Equalization. Please remember the deadline for filing your appeal for your 2015 assessed value is within 30 days of when the notice of value was mailed by the assessor's office. So,
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Don't mean to put you on the spot, but do you know whether our total assessed valuation went up, down, stayed the same? How did we do?
Countywide, we had around a 3% increase. So
Okay.
we are slowly following the market. But of course, as we go through and rebuild each parcel, that doesn't pertain to everyone. So that's just a general increase within the county, which I think is good that we are moving forward and buildings are beginning to be built and recovery.
Do you happen to know if the city of Shelton, what happened just within their
I
limits?
did not break that out. I
Okay.
knew there'd be something somebody.
Sorry about that, just that, they realized a decrease, which is so rare, and so I was just curious whether they're making that back up. And then finally, I got to take advantage of this opportunity. I was asked to invite you to the Mason County Association of Realtors housing issue briefing on Friday at
Oh, thank you.
11:30 at the PUD 3. So
I will
if
be
you
there.
think you're going to be there, if you don't
I
mind
would
giving them a
enjoy that.
call, or I'll call for them because they need to
I
get at you a
think I have
lunch.
that memorized. Thank you
Okay.
very
But I think that's really important that you see what
It
they're
is,
seeing too.
exactly.
Yeah.
It is.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Oh, yes,
One question, if Melanie still available.
yes, go ahead.
Hi, Melanie, just to be clear, if there's no change to a taxpayer's property valuation, will that person receive any statement at all?
Yes, they will.
Okay, and so everyone will receive a statement regardless of its increasing, decreasing, or staying the same.
That's exactly right.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. Is there any other elected officials who'd like to speak at this time? Seeing none, we will go ahead and move on to item number 11, which is board reports and calendars. Commissioner Sheldon, would you like to go first?
Sure. Find the right date here. So I'll go back to October 5th, last week. After our meeting, I had a very productive meeting out at the pavilion with the senior center, talking about the grant that they'd received for $400,000 from the budget from the state, and the progress they're making on the renovations out there. And let's see, skip over a couple days here, other meetings with constituents and contractors, other people, and then on Friday the 9th, we had a meeting with the Washington Association of Counties. Several legislators were there from parts of our area, and the staff from the association talked about funding issues and viability for small counties especially. It was a very productive meeting, and afterwards I had a lunch with two of the individuals from Collin County, Commissioners Jim McIntyre and Bill Teach, and we were joined by retired DNR employee Chuck Chambers in Shelton, and talked quite a bit extensively about the amount of timber that DNR has in arrearage. There was timber that they designated to cut that was never cut. So we are a county which depends heavily on that revenue, and we could have quite a bit more revenue if the cut in arrearage was increased. So there's going to be some subsequent meetings to that, and it'll be a legislative issue, but the counties will certainly weigh in. Yesterday, of course, what used to be Columbus Day is now Indigenous Peoples Day, and I was able to welcome the Association of Washington Business to their meeting at Alderbrook, their government affairs group, and today I'm in Vancouver for a meeting with the Northwest Power Council. The meeting on Wednesday, the 14th, let's see, I won't be able to make the ORCA meeting, which is Wednesday morning, the 14th at 10. And but at in the evening on the 14th, I don't know if it's 5 or 5:30. Sierra Pacific has a public meeting with the city. I believe that's at the city
5:30.
City Hall. Do you know if it's 5 or 5:30?
5:30? It's 5:30, Commissioner.
5:30. Okay.
Yes.
I'll be attending that. Then on Thursday the 15th, I've got a meeting in Ocean Shores with the Senate Energy, Environment, and Telecom Committee, and it'll be about telecommunications, especially in rural areas, and it'll be at the Quinault Casino on Ocean Shores. And that evening, I'll speak to the Hood Canal Lions at the Alderbrook Golf Club, and that's at 5:30. And not only the Lions have been invited, but others from the Alderbrook community. So, and let's see, on Saturday, the Washington Huskies will be defeating the Oregon Ducks for giving the Ducks the third loss in a row, which is quite unusual, and that'll be at Husky Stadium. And Monday the 19th, we have our briefings in the morning, and I have a meeting in Longview, actually, and I think it starts at 11:30. Several legislators are coming from Montana and Wyoming, and there'll be a press conference down there. And I hope to be back in time to go to a dinner that night at Alderbrook from Representative
Thank you, Commissioner.
So last week, following our commission meeting, we did have the budget workshops. I had some pre-meeting conferences with folks about some other meetings throughout the days. Let's see, we did selections for the Hood Canal Coordinating Council Achievement Awards for the health of the Hood Canal. Had a meeting of stakeholders regarding the issue of acute mental illness and how to divert those folks from the jail and the ER. Attended the Washington State Association of Counties legislative meeting and attended the Turning Point domestic violence shelter fundraiser, in which a dear friend of mine was the guest speaker. So we came back here for budget briefings and budget workshops. I met with the Government Affairs Committee of the Shelton Chamber of Commerce on a number of issues and that affect businesses. Following today's meeting, we will have another budget workshop. I have a meeting of the MACECOM board, and then I will attend the ORCA meeting in your stead on Wednesday, Commissioner Sheldon. And then we have the Mason Transit volunteer.
That's good. You might bring up that issue that was raised in the open forum.
I certainly will. I've been trying to follow that, yes. And then the Mason Transit volunteer appreciation luncheon, and then I will also be attending the public meeting with Sierra Pacific on Wednesday night. We have a lodging tax advisory committee meeting on Thursday the 15th, and then I have a Habitat for Humanity board meeting, and then the Realtors Housing Issues briefing on Friday. Mason Matters succession planning. For those that may not know, Kim Clint is moving on from Mason Matters. She will go into retirement, and we will have probably a 3-month period of overlap with whoever her replacement will be. So we're planning that whole succession order of things. And then we'll have briefings on Monday and then budget workshops.
Thank you. Budget workshops. I attended a Kiwanis meeting in order to, up in North Mason, in order to bestow one of the last of the coins to Wendell Harder, who was one of the early pastors up there. He's probably married, of the older Belfort clans, he probably married at least 1 in 4 of them. He was there for 50 some odd years. It's amazing all the stuff you get done, all the children baptized, all the people married, and all the counseling you give before they get divorced. It's amazing, a lot of work. Mason Transit volunteer, they brought together a bunch of organizations that needed volunteers and put it all together in one room. Gave the public an opportunity to come in and volunteer in one place. I attended that. I attended a Parks Board meeting. I went with the attorneys to speak with other attorneys in regards to the vacation of Eberhard Street down in Allen again. EDC Regulatory Subcommittee. They have a first annual scholarship breakfast at North Mason, which was very interesting. The person running for governor and our new superintendent spoke, and she always amazes me. Then we had a regular EDC board meeting. I went to Hunter Farms for the annual pumpkin event where you go and take the little kids out and go get their pumpkin out of the field. I've been doing it for so many years. I don't know what's going to happen when I run out of people that have kids and stuff that need me to go down there. Wasac legislative meeting, we all attended it together. Farm Bureau, I was their keynote speaker for their annual meeting. We also had the Wild Salmon Hall of Fame dinner, where they inducted Billy Frank Jr. into their Hall of Fame. We had our briefings and budget meetings yesterday, and then I attended a Republican meeting for the first time in a long, long time. I got a phone call and was asked to go down there for some issues that they had. Then this next week is budget. I have a Hood Canal Coordinating Council meeting after our budget briefing today that I have to drive out to. Sierra Pacific will be there for that. Although I have my birthday, I was going to take the day off, and now I have to go and explain to my wife why I have 2 meetings on my birthday and I won't be there for dinner. So Temple Board meeting, a few other. We have the Mason Transit Volunteer Luncheon, the Realtors Housing Authority, and again, I can't read my writing, so that'll be good enough. Is there anything further to come before this board? I will entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move that we adjourn.
I'll second. We are adjourned. Rough day for me.
they'll have